As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams.
Good morning. Welcome to Talk with Joan. I will be your host, Anka Hendricks, and in studio we have our lovely co-host, Violet de Beer, and we have a special guest here today who is no stranger to the show, and we're so excited. We've got Xavier Hendricks here, my husband, the love of my life, is going to be here to support us a bit today. But I'm so excited. We'd love you to like and subscribe if you haven't. We don't have Joan today in the studio, but I'm sure she is watching us. And thank you for the opportunity, Mao, that we could do this and trusting us to run with your vision. And we're so excited to get into today's topic. And today's topic is anger management. I must admit I had to do a bit of research on that. Not saying that I don't get angry, it's just not something that you focus on all the time.
Right.
But so today, before I give everybody else a chance to speak, I just want to introduce the mirror question. I think today's one is a bit different. What is your pet peeve? What do you struggle with? What triggers you? We've gone a little further on in years, and I know that you've experienced and worked through a lot of things. What is it that still maybe gets you? But before you answer that,
let me greet everyone. Good morning, everyone, our faithful listeners. This is a good morning, This topic had me thinking a bit, and but before I talk about the topic, let me just greet you and say I hope you're having a blessed day. Grab your coffee, your tea, and I'm also excited because we're having a special guest here, which is a well-known guest, someone of the house, and Pastor Xavier Hendricks. It's good to have you here. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, always good to have. Were you hijacked this morning, or were you just welcome? Did you freely come? Did you come with the...
No, I freely came.
You freely came. Okay.
Because you know when you live in a house with your wife, when you get asked for something, you're actually being told.
Right.
You're not being
So
asked.
you understand the dynamics.
Yeah,
you understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The ask is actually a tell.
you know what? You need to be very careful when we say things.
Oh, okay.
Because as women, we perceive things differently. So say
Right.
that I give you an opportunity to rephrase that in a nicer way.
Yeah. I was told this morning. Now, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it, man. Thank you so much for everyone that's tuning in.
Yes.
And of course, as the ladies were just mentioning, now obviously I have a show on Mondays. And it's always nice to be on the show, and it's always nice to hear the different topics.
Right.
The show always goes deep,
Yeah,
and
is a
it now
deep
speaks
one.
to the emotions and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Look, my show is more light-hearted. We talk about
Yeah.
different things going on around the world. We joke and laugh.
Yeah.
But this one, you have to get into the topic and have the conversation and go there.
Right. I think that's how we
matters.
wired.
Yes.
Isn't it, Anka?
Yeah.
We're in touch with our emotions.
We are in touch
We
with
are,
them.
yes,
We're emotional
yes.
beings, so there's a
Right.
lot more that encompass us. Like we want to deal and jump into these
Right,
things. Like
yeah.
whether it comes to feeling sad, feeling happy,
Right.
are we happy with ourselves? Are we
Right,
truly,
yes.
we want to deal with those. We men are very borderline.
Yeah.
This is happening. This is in the news, and
Practical,
they're practical and factual.
Yeah,
Whereas
factual.
until is the meaning behind the
Right.
beautiful meaning. Everything becomes beautiful in its time.
No, but it's good. You have to. There's moments where even as guys, you have to go there and be like,
Yeah,
alright,
gotta
this is
reflect.
how it is. This is what's happening.
Absolutely.
So, which brings us to the point that, which is
Okay.
why you are here today on the show to give us
A male perspective.
Okay.
we
go.
were strategic in this.
Right.
Now let's go for
Okay.
it. I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
So, anyone can take away. What is your pet peeve?
What triggers?
Yes. What triggers you?
Well, this morning I had a trigger on the road, and that was the traffic. If somebody drives too slow, it can get on my nerves. And if you drive recklessly, like I had someone coming from which side? One overtakes from the right side, but coming from the left. And so those are things that just angers me, but not to a point where should I say
kar gaan
sin?
omgooi.
Like a kar gaan omgooi in
You lose your
krachtwoordkies.
salvation.
Yeah, I lose my salvation. But it does stir,
Yeah,
stir up
stirs emotion.
an emotion of anger, and especially, the Lord Jesus knows, there are some people on the road like taxis. There's one of the pastor friends that I have that says he just wants to have a gun and shoot them. So
Yeah, look, they can
So-
they can
They
get
can.
you to the point.
they
where you
can get to
angry,
one,
yeah.
yeah. They can work on one's nerves. So
Where I
that's
come
one
from,
of my triggers.
they refer to as the kudus. A kudu spring mos net in die pad.
Yeah,
as jy
yeah,
ry.
yeah.
So they refer, and I guess they should be there. I mean, there's the people that pray for patients, and I believe that's why taxis
Yes.
exist for those people
Yes,
that
yes.
pray for.
No, I have a thought process on that where
Okay.
I feel like the people that are dawdling on the road, they actually, for me personally, are the ones that are causing the accidents, because now
Yes.
you're becoming impatient. Now you want to overtake. Now you're in the oncoming. It's like,
Yes.
okay, if you just were driving, then
Okay.
we
At
would
the
have
proper
then we
speed.
would have got there. But now
Yeah.
I'm now irritated here behind you, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to pass you. So
Yeah.
for me, I feel like, guys, just drive.
And you know what? When I initially came to Joburg,
Yeah.
Xavier had to talk to me about this because ek sal sommer almal loop en skellies in die pad and what. And I was like, this is Joburg. It's not there where you come
yes,
from, you know.
yes.
And I think I did have to but it still gets to me and I drive
Yeah.
like the people here now.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning I would still, be scared of how people drive. Now I
Right.
drive.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
people in Joburg drive, and now you're like, hey man, it's worse. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I need to go where I need to be.
Right.
But that is one. That is a good one.
That's just one, I guess. But for now.
For now,
Yeah,
we can develop on it as we
Yes,
go.
we can. And maybe we'll get triggered as well.
Now, okay, so for me, I'm slow to anger.
Okay.
For me, I really take long to
That's
get to
wonderful,
the point.
yeah.
Yeah, nah, it takes me.
I can attest to that.
It takes me a long time to get
But
there
when
now,
you do,
when I'm not now.
when you do
yeah.
get there,
So, but one of the things that can get me there quicker
Yeah.
is disrespect. Disrespect, and sarcasm and smart answers.
Yeah, yeah.
That will get me there quick. I don't get there very often, but if you want me to get there quick, that's the one that makes me there 100, 200 kilometers. Okay, sharp. Now we go in
And you
there.
know the irony is God gave him a wife that is well versed in the art of sarcasm.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's like a language to me. So the
Right.
other day we were driving, and I really had to tone down. I really had to get to the point where
Yeah.
I have to bite my tongue because it just rolls off of my tongue.
Yeah.
And the other day, I don't know what we did in the car, and I was trying to put the USB into the plug, but I put it in the wrong way, and I don't know, I was rambling off something, and he goes, "It's the wrong way around, genius." and I sat there for a moment, and I'm like, I can appreciate that.
Right,
I
right,
can appreciate it. And I was like, and I told him if the roles were reversed, we would not be this calm in this
Yes,
car right
yes.
now, because I can understand and appreciate the beauty of the execution, how he did it.
But it was funny.
It was funny, and I can appreciate. But he won't be able to because it triggers
Yeah.
him. It's like he
Yes.
goes into a spin, like he short circuits. And I'm like,
Right.
no, this is how we need to handle this situation.
Yes,
For me, I would say something that triggers me is overstimulation. Are you still laughing about
For
it?
genius. That was funny.
yes. You guys are funny.
But for me, I think because I'm a mother, I get overstimulated. So if someone, I'm busy nagging and busy sitting and they're nagging, like, you need to do it, you need to do it, you need to do it. It triggers me to the point where I lose my mind. I'm like, I said wait, And with kids will do that. It's normal. They go
Yeah.
through that phase.
Yeah.
Or especially when I'm busy and I'm on a Sunday morning when I'm running around and my kids want attention that time.
Yeah.
They didn't want attention last night when we were chilling and we were just on the couch. They want attention that time when I'm busy running around.
I
And
know that feeling.
and it just
I know that feeling.
triggers me
Yep.
because you've got just so much going on in that moment, and I really struggle with that, and I have to learn to just.
And God blessed you with our eldest daughter.
He did.
You need to do my homework. You need to do that. You need to. It's like, whoa, just whoa. Just wait.
And she's OCD.
Yeah.
So she needs to stick into a routine.
Yes.
So when she's out of that routine, she becomes miserable. And when she's miserable, she starts to nag
Yes,
and whine
yes,
and
yes.
and then I have to now first pet and pie but I only have capacity
And she's very OCD. Like 8 o'clock is sleeping time.
Right, right.
And if we out somewhere and it's 8:05, then she becomes edgy and
When are we going
irritated.
home?
And
Right.
I want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Can I go sleep in the car? I'm like, yo, bruh, are you
My
really?
oldest granddaughter's like that. Yeah.
And it's
so annoying.
it is
Can become
annoying. And in the beginning, you find that the routine helps.
Yeah,
it
it
helps to manage that
Yes,
anger.
yes,
It helps. But then later on, you're like, whoa, you are too rigid, my child. You
Yes,
need
you need to be flexible.
You need to be flexible. You need
Yes.
to loosen up.
Yeah.
But to get back to our topic, let's jump into one of the first things that we've got here on our list.
Yeah.
What would you say is anger? How would you define anger? Anyone can jump in.
I don't know. Auntie Violet, do you have something?
Yeah, I wrote down something about anger, but you just-
So while
it's a feeling of okay.
Now, I was just saying,
Go,
while
go.
you're just checking your how much you've got there, is that from a biblical perspective, the Bible speaks about getting angry but not sinning.
Yes.
So, which means that your emotions gonna get to a place where you're frustrated, you're irritated, you want to react to something that happened to you.
Yeah.
So that's you must now getting angry, you irritated, you frustrated,
Yeah.
regardless of what. Another big thing that's very irritating is we've been trying to get our daughters passport now for the past 5 months, and just the incompetence of what's going on at like the Home Affairs. You sit there and you sit and actually work yourself up, ne?
Yeah.
And you sit and think to yourself, but those people, and you get to a point where you become rude, man, and you
Yes.
become disrespectful, and you become like, but bruh, I'm sitting in this line the whole day, and you have this never mind attitude,
Yeah.
and it's a sense of, it's a feeling of disrespect. It's like, do you
Right.
not honor my time? Do you not? What are you doing? The thing is supposed to start 8 o'clock. You are walking around your tea time. The system is offline. Stuff like that. And
Yes.
as normal South Africans can all attest to this. You sit there and you think, but those people, they must now actually taking me for granted here.
Yes.
They don't care about the fact that I took off work, that I'm
Right.
sitting here, that I must go
Yes.
fetch my children after school. And you sit there and you work yourself up. But again, like the Bible says, even if you get angry to that level, you have to protect yourself from actually getting to the point where you sin.
Sin, yes. So what is anger then? Anger is there's an internal and an external factors that leads to anger. Some internal factors can include a mental instability. Maybe you can identify with that. Depression or alcoholism. While external factors can include situations that are beyond our control, that causes stress or anxiety or financial situations, professional issues or family. I think you just mentioned one now, the system that is not honoring you, that's not respecting us as citizens. That can also trigger anger. Anger is a feeling of frustration. So it causes irritability, right? We become irritable. And it's also the opposite of self-control, okay? Because we can control ourselves. And now all of these are, and can also be, like with depression. It says depression is a inward aggression, okay?
So you're aggressive towards
So
yourself.
you're aggressive towards yourself, yeah. There's different types of anger as well, okay?
Yeah, there is different types of anger.
Yeah.
There's different types of anger, and I think it's the emotional. It's basically an outlet of an emotional
Right,
feeling. So
right.
when we react to something, it's something that we've been processing the whole time, and now
Yeah.
your body doesn't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
and and I think a lot of people show it differently.
Yes.
Some people are they just go into like a passive mode. They just sit and they just think,
Yeah.
okay, this must just flow. Other
Yeah.
people literally react physically to it, and I think it's so
Right.
important that we understand and identify who we are in terms of how do we experience these emotions. How do we give an Afrikaans sal ons sê uiting.
Uiting, yeah, and emosie.
outlet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an outlet, an
right.
outlet.
And I think that when one thinks of anger, Pastor Six, I immediately thought of males, and I think that is a biased opinion to have. Because we always think of anger as a physical demonstration, right? Because men like
physical, yeah.
Yeah.
a
We're going to
physical.
end up fighting. Just relax, baby. We're going to sort this thing
Yes.
out, figure out a way. And I think it could be biased in the sense that, like we started the show with, we said
Yeah.
men are rational thinkers. So
Yeah.
the reason I don't get angry to that level is because I think out the whole thing from the beginning to the end.
Wow.
That's how I make decisions in my life also. I
Yeah.
think, okay, if I do this, it's gonna roll into this, and then that's gonna happen here, and then this is gonna end up here.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna sit with this result. So I literally think the whole process through. So, for example, and which brings me to a question: is there moments where your outbursts actually benefit you? Can I give you a scenario?
Yeah.
If you, for example, seated, benefit you and can be to your
Okay.
detriment. So
Yeah.
let me bring back the example of we struggling to get my daughter's passport sorted out for the past 5 months. Now, is there a moment where a burst of anger can push me through to actually go and get it? So, for example, now the guy doesn't want me to go in because there's a guy that sits there by the door. And then, do you have an appointment? Come and see your
Yeah,
team. Did you
yeah.
get the message?
And
to you?
bear in mind, I've been in this line for 4.5 hours already.
The whole day.
Right,
So
right.
now, an anger burst can turn it into like a
Absolutely.
I've been sitting here the whole day. Can't somebody open here? And now you find that maybe now
Yeah.
people are
Now,
and
yes.
now all of a sudden I was like, hey,
Yeah.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
go in. And so that's what I'm asking: is there situations or scenarios where that burst actually now plays in your favor, where people
Yes.
are like, where it intimidates people to the point where they're like, okay, right then, sorry sir, you can go in. Is there a scenario where that can play in your favor?
It absolutely does. I just look at our society as well. If we don't become angry about
push back.
and push back, about certain situations, we're not going to get anywhere in social injustices and like Doc was ministering about the human trafficking and all the evils that are happening in this world. If we, the good citizens, are not going to stand up, like you rightfully said, at the Home Affairs, if you didn't become angry, in a good way, like you
Like
were
they call it
you were
righteous
getting
anger also.
righteous, like
You
like
get angry for the right thing.
absolutely, like Jesus got angry
To toss the
and
tables.
toss the tables. That was for a good cause that Jesus got angry. So,
And I think it's important for us to get angry at some
Yes,
point in our
we
lives.
yes.
All our emotions are there for a reason.
Yes.
It's a matter of channeling it in the correct,
correct way.
What
Absolutely.
we now have is people something that might have started out as righteous anger
Yeah.
now has turned into what we refer to more commonly as the Karens.
Yes,
Now we have, and in South Africa more commonly known as the Annelies.
Yeah.
But there should always be balance in these situations.
Yes.
And scope, like you said, Xavier, earlier, is that you need to think the situation through.
Yes.
Where is it going to take
Yeah.
me? Sometimes we do have to stand up for where we are.
Yeah.
You do, like in a line like that at Home Affairs, I was in the line, I was standing in the sun for 4.5 hours, but I'm determined to get something for my child.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that this thing isn't ready. I need to speak to somebody who can actually help me.
Yes.
No, just sit there.
Yeah.
They're not, the ignorance to even want to hear. Now it takes my husband to come and make his stem a bikkie dak,
yeah,
so that he
yeah.
can say, whoa, wach, we need to
Yeah.
we've been waiting for 5 months. You guys
Yes.
haven't, there's something wrong here. We need to find out what the problem is so that
Yeah.
we can actually.
Just to find out the thing was never processed.
Oh my word!
So now you sat there the whole day. You get inside.
I cannot believe
the
that.
incompetence of the people
Wow.
working in there.
Yeah.
And what really gets you angry
Yes.
is the never mind attitude. Like,
Yes.
yeah, now what now?
But they hide behind that.
Now what? Now what?
They-
Now what do you want to
they
do now?
hide behind.
Nou wat moet nou
yes,
gebeur?
Yeah.
Soos hulle altyd gesê het, jou kwaad en ons kwaad. It's like,
Is it-
ons
yeah.
worry nie.
Yes.
I don't care. They literally show you to your face, I do not care.
Yes.
That you were sitting in the line, that your children are now being late to be picked up, that you left work and took off the whole day.
Yeah.
I don't care. You will sit here the whole day and I'll still not have an answer for it. So that obviously gets you worked up.
It does. Now on that one, sex. Can I say sex?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Using this. Okay. So we're obviously just using this as an example in a scenario. So in our context, in that particular example, there's obviously reference and background that created that scenario. The previous apartheid regime, then all of a sudden you have power, then you go on to a power trip. This
Yeah.
is my thing. I'm in charge. I
Yes.
have the power.
Yeah.
I can stamp this thing or I can decide I don't want to stamp it.
Right,
So
right.
I have I get it crack. I got the power
Yes.
to irritate you, and I
Yeah.
can do it on purpose. I can make you sit and wait the whole day
Yeah.
and go drink tea.
Yeah.
I can make you sit the whole day and go and leave the office completely and just say the system is offline. I have the authority to do that. So because of I think the shift in power dynamic as where that happened,
Right.
now people are on this. I can
The
do what I
power trip.
want and I don't care. And then there's elements of racism. Then there's elements of prejudice. Then there's
Yeah.
elements of bias. So many times I've sat in that home affairs and then I see sometimes, and I'm just going to say it for what it is because I've been to that home affairs so many times. I
Yes.
see a white walking in from the back. He walks straight in and then he goes in by the office.
Wow.
And nobody says anything. So now there's that kind of like, hey, maybe that's the boss. Or maybe. So there's still a mindset because you asked the question, is
Yes.
it culture, is it what?
Yeah.
There's still a mindset that happens, especially in South Africa, where that is the case.
Yeah.
And now, especially now, I'm speaking from a brown person's perspective. We're feeling marginalized at the
Yes.
roadblock, at the home
Right.
affairs, everywhere you go. It's like you must fight your way through the
Yeah,
whole time. It's
yeah.
like they show
Yeah.
you straight, they're not gonna help you.
Yeah.
So they speak a different language and show you like, yeah, bro, we don't care what you think.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to fight your way through this thing the whole time, and it makes you angry.
Yes.
But you need to decide, how am I gonna play this? How am I gonna work this? How am I going to maneuver this thing?
Yeah.
And you need to be smart about it. And again, it gets back down to, am I gonna be angry, throw my toys out of the court, or am I gonna be strategic about how I play this card?
Yeah.
Is there a better way to play this?
Yeah.
Are you get angry by the restaurant, they spit in your food? Or am I going to maneuver this way
Yes.
and in such a way that I'm not going to complain now.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for but when the time comes, I'm not going to give this woman a tip.
Right.
I'm not going to give this guy a tip.
Yeah.
Because now you're showing that
Isn't it out?
I'm actually nar for you, man.
Ja.
Jy gemaak dat ek die hele dag hier wag.
Right.
You brought me the wrong thing. This thing was cold, but if I was angry, now
Yes.
I'm scared. You start me with a special order. so now you must
Why,
budget.
thank you for
When-
that visuals.
Now you must budget. When am I gonna be?
Yeah.
Remember that Leon Schuster
Schuster.
movie?
Yeah.
Where he says, yeah, we just put some salt and then put a petty under his arm. So you must now also know how to, like you're
Yes.
saying, it's an
Yeah.
emotional thing. You
It
need
is.
self-control. What you were saying.
Right, right.
You need to know, how am I gonna budget this thing?
Yeah.
So what I did, Anka sits in there, I walked past her, I walked straight in. I said, no, my wife is inside waiting for me. I didn't know. I thought she was inside for real.
I called him.
And the guy left me. So I'm phoning. I'm like, I can see Bella
I said, stay in there.
He's like,
Get
"Girl, someone stay
something
there
done.
inside."
Just get something done.
So I'm
Don't
with
come
my
out.
daughters. I say, go fetch the paperwork there. But now, because I've worked myself up for the past
Yes.
5 months,
Yeah.
I'm now to the point where I'm not gonna now take no for an answer. In the
Right.
beginning, I said. In the
Yes.
beginning, I left it. In the
Yes.
beginning, I was okay. I'm following the process. But after the 5th, 6th time, I'm realizing this process is not working.
Yeah.
You book online, you still come sit here 5 hours.
Yeah.
You do never. This is not working. So now you need to decide, how am I going to control my emotion?
Yes.
How am I going to push past when it's necessary? And again, you can be stern without being disrespectful. And I think this is where another element comes in.
Yeah.
Does anger mean you moet beskof wees?
Nope.
You must be rude.
Become personal.
You must become
insulting.
personal. You must be demeaning.
Yes.
You must be a racist or derogatory.
No. Not at all.
But I think those are the elements of a display of anger, like you were saying, like you're sitting in a restaurant and
Yeah.
you know this person is just giving you bad service. So what you in turn is like, no, I'm not going to give this person a proper tip, or you
Yeah.
know, I have to play this thing in such a way that I don't get a special order. That is, it is. You are supposed to get angry
Yes.
at certain.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that a good thing where the anger pushes you to a point where you actually
something
do
done. Yes,
something
yes.
about it?
Yeah.
Because also
To
just
action.
sitting the whole time
Yeah.
Yeah.
is also not helping. You shall sit tot next year.
So, ek stem.
I'm gonna go not off topic, but just a different example where
Yeah.
I grew up in a home where my father was baie kort van draad, meaning to say that
got angry easily.
He got angry. He loved to laugh. But he got triggered very quickly,
Right.
and he showed his emotions.
Short-tempered.
Ooh, yeah, he showed his emotions,
Yeah.
right? So I grew up in this environment that when we did something wrong, ons het geskel.
Yeah.
And you was klaar geskel, you got over it, you felt okay, you were waiting for the punch and in terms of the geskellery, and then you were over and we went on with our lives. Now I get married, fast forward to getting married,
Yeah.
right? before that, when I started learning how to drive, my maats were a Ford Focus gehad, and now that car, I shame, went to the panel beaters a couple of times, and I was the cause for it. But every time it had a knock, I knew, oof, he come it. My father's gonna, hoe kom jy hier so gemaak? Kan jy nie waar hier ry nie, and that kind of thing. Fast forward to when I get married. So we just bought the new car, and we were it was like 6 months in the new car, and we were at church, and you know that feeling where you're like, in that, you're just feeling like you're floating because you were like in the presence of God. And we were driving home, and I was telling Xavier how I feel, and hoe die duivel wil inkom en 'n ding kom doen. And we get home, but there's these boom gates, and someone in front of us is struggling with the boom gate, and I reverse.
Yeah.
Now bear in mind, my car has a 360 camera, which means I can see all around my car, right? But I reverse. And I'm not paying attention, and I hit the curb. And the bumper gets smashed off. It's a new car. My husband gets out. Not a word. So he gets out, and he puts the rocks there or whatever to get the car down safely so that I don't now rip off the entire bumper.
Yeah.
And we now need to go to Potch. Nou, how I grew up was nou 'n scene gewees en niemand gaan Potch toe nie. Ons bly nou net hier van ons almal is.
Het hy stil steppe gekry?
No.
Wow.
No.
As jy erg
No. Now I'm waiting for it.
I'm like, jy het nou klaar die bumper stuk in gereis. Nou die bumper reg maak.
Right? But in my mind, I'm feeling like, man, skel net dat ek kan beter voel oor die situasie, dat ons kan aangaan. Because now I'm feeling
terrible.
I'm feeling terrible because I did something now, because now it's now money now that we now need to fix this car, and we just bought the car. And also we have to, but my husband is cognizant enough to know, ons moet nou nie kar sit vir nog 'n uur.
Wow.
In each other's presence, right?
Yeah.
And those are a lot of the things that he broke in my mind, to say that, okay, alles ons kwaad vir mekaar, we can have a little onder onsie now, and then we'll make the coffee and the tea, and then we'll go on.
But that's actually a very wise approach, eh?
And
You are wise beyond your years, I would say.
So my thing is now,
Now, just tell me this quickly before I forget. Was this model to you? Because I can identify with
yeah.
Anka. My dad was short-tempered. Hy het sommer goed uit jou hand het gegryp as jy te stadig op was en te stadig iets doen. Dan sê kom.
Yeah.
Kom. Ja,
Yeah.
kom.
I can identify.
Ja, ek kan identify with
Yes.
it. Ja, jy is te stadig. Jy is te doen, jy is te. But
Kry
you
'n
know,
bietjie lewe, man.
kry lewe. But in the same breath, we learned quite a bit from him.
Yes.
And also to the extent where I am almost exactly like my dad. My name is Violet, maar ek het 'n Mabel kant.
yeah.
My second name is middle name.
So what will my
Mabel.
second name be?
Yeah.
the model.
So yeah.
No, my father was like that.
And you know-
Kom, jy vat lank.
Ja.
Kry klaar.
Ja.
Hoe lank wil jy nog? Nee man, kom.
You know what the irony
My
is?
father was like that with me growing up.
I
He
don't
wasn't like that with my brother, but with me he was like that. I think he changed afterwards.
But you're the
'Cause-
opposite then.
Yeah, so because it got to the point where my father sees me there, then he wants tea. So he just hears me coming there, and then he's like, "Mark for me that tea." Then I'm like, "Ish." So now I felt like that all my life. I'm like, "Ish, I'm not gonna do this to my children." And the irony now, I do it to my daughter. I'm like, "Hey, baby, go make me tea, please." But I try to be modest about it. I try to not like every time I see her.
Yeah.
So I think I did the opposite. But my father at some point in his life was like that.
Yes.
But then afterwards I realized it was when he was building a church and he was trying to do this and
Yeah.
that he left his business, he struggled and
Yes.
he tried to make a thing work. And it worked.
Yeah.
But I was the oldest, so I had to bear the punch of that.
Yes.
Of that. But I'm logical, so I think the thing all the way through. Now I'm thinking, okay, you bumped now the bumper.
Yeah.
Come and go see how serious it is. Okay, it's not that bad. I can clip it back, put a
Yes.
screw back.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Now we're driving to Potch, we're gonna sit an hour in the car.
Yeah.
Is it now worth it now to be angry for a whole hour? It doesn't make sense. Let's just leave the thing, we'll fix it on Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go on with our lives. Because now you have to reason the thing.
Is
Like I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
I think it all the way through. Now
Yes,
I'm like, gaan ek nou die hele pad hoe naar is?
Yeah.
But it's not worth it.
So you make a choice actually.
Yeah, I decide, no man,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
We fix it. It's in broken, now what must happen now?
Yeah.
We can't rewind time
which
and
is-
undo it.
Which is, and I say, that was God's grace to me because
Yes.
I'm very short-tempered, and you
Yeah.
could escalate something into into something extremely nasty that just
Yeah.
it was unnecessary from the start, and you don't realize it because in that moment when you're feeling so angry, you feel like nee, ek gaan nou sê wat ek wil
Yeah.
sê because you must hear what I need to say, and it berokken meer skade at the end of
But
the
sorry,
day.
just to say this.
Yeah.
When you know, when a child lets a cup fall or something, ne?
Yes.
A glass, and how it breaks, ne?
Yeah.
With us,
Ons
ons
is
begin
geskel.
heel sommer.
Ja, dis is geskel.
Because je weet, ik ga ook gespeeld worden toen die glas had gevallen. My children bring a glass, pass, ping, they sweep it. Or they just someone leave it there. Now it's now the opposite now, where nobody now says anything. So now you have to have also that
I think
balance to
the-
say, hey, you be careful, pay
Yes.
attention. Don't just drop the thing. But now the way I speak to my children, I don't shout and fight. I sit down with my daughter, I say, you need to pay attention to what you do. Look where you're walking. You're busy watching TV, you're walking with a glass, and now you walk into this. So you make it before. Pay attention, see
Like-
where you go. So I'm more logical when I
The
explain something.
admiration I
Which is
have,
good.
the admiration I have for my husband, right?
Yeah.
Because his patience is beyond enduring. Like he would have a sit down with my daughters,
Yeah.
where I don't. Jy gaan
and
jy
it's
gaan
to the-
weet ek is kwaad.
to the
Jy
point
gaan
now.
sommer nou uitsorg.
Jy
Yeah,
gaan
it's
nou
the
iets-
point where they know, ne? So we were showering the other day. They says, Daddy, please can you help me? I'm like, okay. now she says, don't ask mom, she's going to shout.
Like they already preempted. They know they know that we be the complete opposites, but in terms of that, but it's I think the benefit for us is that he's the calm one because he's the head of the home, so he has to control the atmosphere.
Yes.
If it was the other way around, I think we would have had a more tumultuous life.
If it was the other way
all that.
around, my house would have been like your house growing up.
Right.
The
Because
whole time, like,
it's not no, growing up. It wasn't the whole time. I think to the latter years of my parents' life, especially my father's life, the stress started piling on, and you now that you're living in your own home environment, you start understanding what really took place.
you was
at
under
that time.
pressure, maybe
He was
like
under
the
pressure.
points you mentioned.
Yes.
Financially, family, this.
Yeah.
And now now I think back and I'm like, yo, if I could tell my father I'm sorry for the judgment that I gave him, or I'm sorry that we maybe added on to certain things, because now you understand. And there's a thing about life, it's lived forward but only understood backwards.
So true.
I just want to just bring in the comments real quick. We just want to say hi again to everybody. Felicia Stevens says, good morning. Hi, Das live lad. And then we've got Lady J. Good morning, beautiful people. Lady J says, ooh, Home Affairs, tell me about it. Will test your patience to the core. Clayton says, more importantly is knowing your limits in every situation. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
And then Lady J says, is it then safe to say when people are out attacking you publicly and trying their best to tarnish your name, this gets one angry so much, but have to think twice before reacting? Why? Because we as Christians must be better people.
I want to touch on that. Right? So, I learned a valuable lesson. So I was running a youth ministry, right?
Yeah.
And I'm unapologetic about the fact that it was a very popular youth ministry,
Yeah.
and it was very successful,
Right.
probably the biggest in SADC, right? And it was very, very successful. And with that level of eyeballs, yeah?
Yeah.
And this was now just when Facebook started. Remember, Facebook only came in, like I was already almost done with high school when Facebook became a thing.
Yeah.
And it only really became a thing. I was already done with school. So the advent of technology and social media, when I was running that youth ministry, Instagram wasn't even a thing yet. It came like afterwards.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Facebook was a thing. Because it was popular, YouTube was also a thing. And with that comes now the comment section.
Yeah.
And with the comment section, the more eyeballs you now have on your content, the more you're gonna find a lot of people will agree with you, but also a lot of people will disagree with you.
Yeah.
And so you have to be open for that criticism, because now what you've done is you've made yourself public. You've put yourself. I know she's probably not speaking about being a public. I'm just speaking about my perspective.
yes.
So I've now made myself public. I'm putting my sermons on a public space,
Yeah.
which means any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come there and come watch.
You're
and come
also
see.
opening yourself up
For criticism. So which means
yeah.
anyone can come there and comment whatever they feel like commenting and say
Yeah.
whatever they want to say.
Right.
And so what happens, to answer her question, people came on there to the point where people were talking so much nonsense about me as an individual. I went through all the seasons. The season of feeling depressed about it, like, but that's not who I am. How can they say this about
Yes,
me? That's
yes.
not what I meant. They're taking my
Right.
thing out of context. I
Right.
didn't mean to say it like that.
Yeah.
This and this. Now you get inside your own mind, like
Yes.
you try to justify, but that's not what I said. I didn't mean it so. But people are now saying I said this and it isn't. Oh, but guys, that's the truth. How can you now
Yeah.
say it's otherwise? But this is how it is. And so you get into your own mind, and then it got to the point where I started asking myself, do I want to read the comment section, or should I just leave the comment section
Yeah.
alone? Then I thought myself, maybe let me read it so it can strengthen so it can make my skin thick, man. So it can make me
Yeah.
hardkoppig, like,
Yeah,
ek
yeah.
worry ook nie wat sê jy,
Yeah,
man. Ek gaan
yeah.
sê wat ek wil
Make
sê.
you resilient.
Yeah, it makes you resilient.
Yeah.
It makes you like, I don't
Yeah.
also care what you think.
Yes, yes.
Then I went through that season. Come, I just read it. But the truth of the matter is, as human beings, we see things about ourselves that we know it's not true, or we know it was misinterpreted or taken out of a context in which it was said, and we get we get angry, we get
Yeah.
like, but bruh, that's not what I meant. And now you try to verdedig yourself, you try
Yes.
to go in the comments, guys, I didn't mean that. I was
Yeah.
actually and then now you're just throwing oil on the fire now. You're throwing fuel on this fire to the point where people are, now, this one says this and this one. Then you get to the stage of, must I just not read the comments at all?
Yeah.
But to answer her question, I have got to the point now where I can read it, or I can decide I don't want to read it. I'm indifferent to it. The reason why is because the Bible says it, and they shall know you by the fruits that you bear. And if indeed people can see your fruits,
Yes.
that's going to speak louder than somebody like what Lady J was saying. Somebody
Yeah.
to try to tarnish your image,
Yes.
or talk bad about you online,
Yeah.
or do whatever. Your fruit will speak for itself. People
Right.
will say, oh, but this guy, he doesn't seem to be this way.
Mm.
But this guy, the way he's running his family is honorable. This guy, the way he conducts himself in public, it's respectful.
Yeah.
And then people will, you know how many times I've had a circumstance where I meet someone in person that used to watch online or whatever. Then they say to me, oh, you're not the way the people said you are.
Yeah.
I've had it more than, if I can tell you, more than 10 times. Somebody said, oh, I didn't know you like this.
Right.
Because, again, somebody tarnishes your name or your
Yes.
reputation.
Yeah.
They're outside, they talk whatever they talk. When the person meets you in reality, they're like, oh, okay, this is how this person actually is. So your fruit, at the end of the day, will speak for itself. You don't have to try to justify yourself.
And that's also a very good space to be in, right? Om jou nie te steur aan
Yeah.
almal se wat
not easy, nee.
no.
It's not easy.
You need some mental
Absolutely,
strength.
it's not an easy thing. I've experienced it personally. When you think you're a very nice person, and then you hear there's people that don't like you, or people that.
And
have-
you wondering,
have nasty-
what did
I'm
I
like,
do?
how? Ek het gedink ek is so nice.
I know that.
Do you know that feeling?
Yes. And you know what? I asked God. I asked him,
Yeah.
please show me, what is it? How do I just walk into a room or something and I don't even know this person,
Yes.
and they just don't like me?
just don't like
What
you.
was there not to like? When did we spend time for them not to
Yeah,
like me, or
yeah.
even say something? Because I've been in many situations where I've heard people say, oh, I didn't know this is who you really were. Because someone
Yes.
did say something about
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
and I know someone said something about me, but
Yeah.
I'm not willing to come in and say, no, but I'm not this person, because if I'm going to have to now fight with it, now it's just my words against your words.
Yeah.
You have to see who I really am, because action speaks louder than
But
words.
what-
Yes.
But let me just finish this point, sorry. And I asked God, what is it? And it was just the spirit within you and the spirit within them, it just
clashes.
doesn't- It just clashes.
But
It just
watch how
doesn't
sly
agree.
the devil comes in now.
Yeah,
né?
yeah.
He comes in with a small, oh, so and so said this about me. Nou gaan ek hulle wys.
Yes.
Ek gaan ook nou, I'm
Yeah.
not going to invite them to my next event.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to, I'm speaking
play
now from
into it,
yeah.
Now, then you start playing into
Yes,
it.
yeah.
Then you really become what they said.
That's what they said.
So
He's
true.
sly.
It's
He's
a
sly.
valid-
The-
yes.
the
Then you
devil
see,
is by
then
us
it's a
sly.
bait, and then you butter.
But
then
that's
you
the
took
scheme
the
of
bait.
the enemy.
Yeah.
That's what the enemy wants,
Then you
right?
took the bait.
Yes,
And you
yes,
play into that, and something that Xavier's always like, when I get upset when someone does something, we're like, nee, ek sal dit ook nie doen nie because they did it or what.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you can't stoop to their level.
You're
need
falling
to
in their
you
weakness now.
need to
So
maintain
true.
who you are. Stay true to your
Yeah.
character, and that's really kept me sane, because I think the worst thing for me would have been that if I've had played into it and I'm like, yeah, maar ek is nie regtig daai persoon nie, like this whole thing is just against me.
So you want to actually actually defend yourself.
wanna
want to
defend
defend
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
And the reality of the matter is there is always going to be someone who doesn't like you. There's
Yes.
always going to be someone who's going to say something negative towards you. And it's going to create an emotion.
Yeah.
It's going to create, and it might create an insecurity if you allow it, if you don't deal with it properly. And I think that's something that's very important. I've spoken to a couple of people that they would just get upset, or they would you would have a normal conversation with them or something, and hulle spring net uit die pen uit. They just the situation just escalates, and that brings me to the next question that I want us to deal with is, how do you deal with the anger that you experience? Because a lot of times people deal with undealt with anger, emotions that they've never dealt with, and it comes out at showing it to the wrong person. For instance, someone at work now did something to me. Now I come home and now my husband must get the brunt of it. Now he has to deal with these emotions that it's a bear with a thorn in my side, and everyone who's in my way will be now in the path of my wrath. So how do we deal? What are the different types of ways that we can now deal with this anger that we are experiencing?
I think first of all, one needs to acknowledge that you have an anger issue, right? And then, or that you have this hostility problem, right? And then work on it. Like you make use of, a sounding board, like your support structures. Talk to someone about it. And then they usually say, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Count to 10
Count
before
to
you
10.
speak. Because it's in the tongue van ons, ne?
Especially if you go off the cuff
Yeah.
in that moment.
And
Immediately.
I have that. Ek het 'n baie skeer tong.
You've got to
And
think.
if you gonna
things
catch me,
through.
you're gonna get the
yeah.
I
brunt
want
of
to
it.
give a scenario of something. Okay, no.
So I just wanted to commend you, because I think the way Xavier reacts is actually very good. You actually think, you're a thinker, right? So you think things through.
And you know,
So before you speak, you actually think.
Or before I act.
Or before you act.
And you know how many times it saved me?
yeah.
You-
And you know,
Oh,
I can
bruh,
imagine.
I would have been
I
in deep
can
trouble if I
imagine.
just moved on my emotions.
you know what the irony is? You know
Yeah.
how many times that his patience has saved me. Van
Yeah.
ek sal sommer kwaad, man, kan jy nie beweeg nie, praat man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
fix
yeah,
it. And then
yeah.
he'll just look at, he won't answer me, he'll just look at me.
Wow.
And it saved me many a time in a situation.
And your marriage,
And
isn't
our
it?
Yeah,
marriage.
because imagine I had to come back with the same energy.
Ooh, brother.
Dan fight the dan.
Dans as a geheel.
And now here's the thing. Again, and I tell this to guys all the time when they sit and they ask me for advice on their girlfriends or their marriages or whatever. I say, gents, women respond, and we started it with this conversation. Women respond emotionally, men respond physically.
Right.
So the same disrespect she's showing you, for me in my world, it's equivalent to me hitting her with the face.
Yes,
Because
yes.
the shot you throw into me is the same, like, because men speak, ons gaan mekaar slaan. That is how we now resolving the issue. We fight physically.
Yeah.
Women speak, ons gaan mekaar stat met die mond.
Yes,
we're gonna,
yes,
we're gonna,
yes. Ons is goed met hy,
Yeah, we
ja.
can be sharp on the tongue.
Right.
And that emotional jabs, or that,
So-
the jabs that you hit someone on that
Emo-
level is also,
It's,
So-
it's sometimes it's, sorry, just to hold your thought, Anka. They say the words, nee, die physical, die blou oog, hy gaan mos weg, nee.
Ja, maar die woorde
Nee,
gaan nie weg
Die
nie.
woorde gaan nie weg nie. It's like
But that's how I
feathers
always tell
that's been
gents,
scattered.
it's sometimes it's in my mind, it's equal.
Is this
That
is this
disrespect
why
is the same
is,
like
yeah.
Is this
because
why-
that's how he's
Yes.
showing his frustration,
is
and that's how you
this
show
why
yours.
we're a generally calm guy
Okay.
is within a relationship or whatever, and die vrou mens prat, prat, prat,
Yeah,
prat,
yeah.
and hy slaan haar, like it's like he gets to a point where he just hits her, which is something that just it generally wouldn't happen.
Van dat uit die hele family doodgesteek.
Hoorie, maar nou gaan ek iets sê, nee, maar in hulle min nie kursief nie, maar hulle sê sommige vrouens wil eintlik hulle hou aan
Hulle wil gevra om geslaan te
Hulle
word.
apply vir dit, nee.
Yes.
So, pak eintlik nou.
Apply for that. I think the one day, and I think you can, I don't know, you can say what your emotions was in that day, because we had this heated argument, and I was at the point waar ek gaan my punt deurdring,
sien jy.
en ek gaan jou sê hoe ek voel, and I'm gonna hit you as hard, want ek weet ek kan jou nie nou slaan nie,
Ja,
maar I'm
ja.
gonna hit you as hard with this words that I have here.
Ja.
And it got to a point where I say, jy praat nie met my so nie, but I've never seen my husband at that. Kyk, as my man kwaad raak, moet jy weet ek het hom ordentlik teen die muur uitgedryf. Jy moet weet. What was your emotions in that specific
My,
moment?
again, I'm thinking the whole thing through.
Ja, ja.
The big thing that gets me to the point where it now comes to a roadblock
Yeah.
is where I'm thinking, if I now leave this, it's the same like with my kids.
Yeah.
If I leave this, it's gonna grow some legs and some arms, and then next thing you know, this is gonna become a monster. I can't stop.
Yeah.
So that point
That's
is
quite a visual.
that point is to the point where it's like, listen, yeah, that's not how you speak to me. You need to understand that now. And I can say just so.
Yeah.
That's not how you speak to me. Understand
And that angers me.
now.
Yeah.
You don't ever speak to me like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But I
to you?
like that. I like
I'm
that.
shouting at child.
You know, that shows you're a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
Nee?
He is a disciplinarian.
You're a disciplinarian. So
He's just a
jy
slower
genoeg is genoeg. Ja.
It's like, because
Tot hier
ek
toe nie
dink nog, as ek
verder
dit
nie.
nog gaan, because
Ja.
again, ek dink die ding all the way through. I'm thinking, if I
Right.
leave this thing,
So-
next time we sitting here in front of people that dink jy kan vir my afjak hier voor die mense.
So
ja, 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 ja.
So just to dissect that moment for a
Yeah,
half a
yeah,
second, right?
yeah.
So in that moment when I'm telling him my emotions, right? So let's just sketch a scenario. It started with socks.
Yeah.
I keep asking you to pick up your socks.
Yeah.
En ek verwag hy van my kind af. I
Yeah.
expect that from Ava. In his mind, he's reading, I am speaking to a child. So he's reading disrespect.
Disrespect. Hy sien
En nou sê hy nou vir my, ja, jy praat nie met my, you don't speak to me like that ever. Now I'm reading, ek is ook nie jou kind nie.
Yes.
You know, so if you don't have the maturity in that moment, om te sê, wag, this thing is escalating, we need to de-escalate
Yeah.
it now. And the irony is, he wants to sort it out now.
Yes.
I want to walk away, let me
Yeah.
go, he wants to sort it out now.
Yes.
And now this thing is brewing, it's escalating. So in that moment, it could escalate if you don't know how to manage your emotions properly. It kan by die punt kom waar jy my miskien slaan.
Yeah.
En nou hardloop ek police toe because my man is 'n abuser.
Yeah.
Maar ons sê nie wat is die cause nie.
Right.
Ons sê nie wat was die trigger nie.
That was a 2-hour conversation.
Ons sê nie dat was 'n 2-hour
But finally na daai point
En dat was
gekom het.
provocation nie. Ons sê nie daai goed nie.
En daar was vingers in my voorkop gedruk.
En ge-
Jy sê nie daai, jy sê net jy was geslaan.
We just recorded half of the conversation.
Ek like dat my man is mos nou van die ou skool, né? You cannot stand a woman that raises her voice. If you want him, on the wrong side, I'm to lose it, dan moet jy jou stemmetjie raise. En jy weet ek het 'n probleem met Mabel,
Ja.
Mabel
Ons
wil
sê
nou
net 'n bietjie nou en dan uit.
Mabel,
Jy wil raak nog 'n chickie.
moet ek met Mabel praat, as ek nie Mabel as jy nou vir Petrus hier wil omkrap.
Dan moet jy aangaan.
Dan moet jy nou aangaan met die toon.
that
En dan kry jy mos stilsteppe, né?
Yeah, because that's how we protect. That's a defense mechanism for us as women. Our system is the way we go because we know ons kan nie demand the life gaan nie. So that's how we but we need to find a better outlet
have to.
because it causes a trigger and now the situation escalates. But before we go, and I just quickly want to bring in the comments again. We've got Eileen Peilman. We've got here Pastor Eileen. Good morning. Family of God, we've got Micheline Peterson also. Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, family. And then Lady J says, thanks so much, Pastor Zakes. So needed that. And then Felicia says, people will always talk about you, good or bad. However, that shouldn't affect how you see and carry yourself. That's so true. Micheline says, that's so true. People judge based on others' opinions. Therefore, so important for us as people to always have the spirit of discernment. That's also very true. She says, we always have to keep Proverbs in mind when we deal with people. Proverbs 15 verse 1, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh
absolutely.
word stirs up anger.
Yeah.
Felicia says, I love the comedy you are bringing into this.
So here's the thing. There's a scenario I wanted to bring up
Yeah.
based on the question that was asked earlier on how do you actually deal with it.
Right.
So something happened to me in the space I'm in. Oftentimes I'll pioneer a concept, right?
Yeah.
I'll sit there, I'll pray about it. I'll ask a team to think about different concepts and ideas, and I'll pioneer the concept.
Yeah.
And later on, especially in the church space, other churches will hijack the idea né? and call it their own. né?
Right.
So that at some point used to make that. Now, if there's something that irritated me, it was
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
né?
If it was a pet peeve,
Oh,
that was
bruh, if there's something that really got me to the point where I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop it.
stop it now.
Yeah.
Sometimes they take the concept verbatim, and I would know that's my concept. So that is obviously in the space of academics. It's called plagiarism. You're literally stealing someone's they
Yeah.
call it IP, ne?
Yeah,
Intellectual
intellectual property.
Yeah.
So when I see it, it irritates me because I'm like, bruh, I said they thought out this idea,
Right.
thought out this concept, figured out how I'm gonna play this thing. So something happened recently where that happened to me, right? Where I got so nar that I didn't know how to react. And so now I'm thinking, must I be cheeky to this person? Must I be rude? Because now everything inside me wants to tell this person, bruh, you know that you're speaking to someone that I started that concept.
Right.
That you now trying to explain to me.
Yes.
If there's something that irritates me, it's that.
I can
Jy
imagine.
wil vir my explain iets
Yeah.
wat jy by my gesien het.
Right.
You got that concept from me before you even
Wow.
thought about it, before you even knew there was something. Before you even had something going.
Yo,
I was pulling forth.
I can hear the passion.
I get angry. Before you even
And
knew
I'm
what
privy
you were
to
doing.
these
In fact,
conversations.
you
Yeah.
you had to come and get this. You used to come to my events.
Right.
And saw me pull. And so now you want to explain to me
Yeah.
how the concept works. That irritates me to heaven and the hell and back, bro. Because now I'm thinking, must I be cocky with this person?
Yes.
Must I be cheeky with this person? Must I tell him, dude, I'm literally 15, 20 years older than you. You saw this concept from me. It irritates me, ne?
Right.
So now I'm nar.
Yeah.
I'm nar.
We
If there's
feel-
something
we
that
feel
gets
your
me nar,
anger, we
ne,
feel it.
that makes me nar. Now I'm nar.
Is that a righteous anger of a what's the anger?
I don't know. It's just irritating. But now I'm
Ek
being.
dink jy's 'n righteous anger,
But now I'm being cordial to the person I'm speaking to. Ne? But the second I drop that phone, then I pick up my phone. It will not happen now. That's the one to explain to me
You know what though?
how to do this, and that.
Yes.
This man was a 12-year-old lighty when I was doing this in 2010. This man came here yesterday and started something. Now he wants to tell me
But
I must do
you
it
know
like
what-
this and like. It's like
You know
I
what the
get so
irony is?
irritated.
I can imagine.
But you know what the irony is in the situation, and ek
Yeah.
moet sê ek moet my hoed afhaal vir my man,
Yeah.
because I don't have the presence of mind to react like that. He'll sit in a conversation, and the person might even be rude to him, or might even be. And the way he will gracefully handle the situation, waar ek net uit die pen het sal gespring het, I would snap back, like, and he will sit there and like, he'll dance around it, and then he'll just, he'll try to avoid certain things and
Yeah.
just put down the phone, and then he will
But
react.
at home, I'll speak to Uncle. I'll be like,
Like,
imagine this.
and which is a safe which is a safe space to be, because I should be his sounding board. I should be the
Yeah.
person that he knows that if it events here, it stays here.
Right.
And
It-
that's the
it
thing.
stays
To,
here.
to find a place to vent where you know
A safe
it's
space.
not going to go further than that.
Yes.
Because now if I vent to someone else, guess what? They're
It's
going to go
a
and
ripple
say,
effect.
hey, brah, you know what Zeke said?
Yeah.
He says you took his idea and you says, and then that now turns into
Yeah.
a different thing now. again.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm just like, yo. So to answer the question,
Yeah.
find someone that you trust. My other friend lives in London. We'll
Yes.
sit on the phone for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I tell him, bro, I can't believe this and this and this. You know what
Yes.
happened here? And then just say, bro, it's like that. You must
Yeah,
know, bro.
yeah.
If you pioneer something, people are going to steal your concepts. That is how it is. Da, 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 da. So it's...
And I think something that's very important in a situation like that, it mustn't be a praatjie polle besigheid where you there to hear all the juicy and dabas and
But that's why I
enable
don't
mekaar,
speak
enable
to
mekaar,
and especially
you know.
when you're like in my case now, I've become a public figure, which
Yeah.
means there's a lot of people that I'm leading.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of people that are looking at me. There's a lot of
Yes.
people that are, if I say, I was telling Anka the other day, right? Somebody called me and said, Pastor, please, can you help me promote this thing?
Yeah.
Ne? And I said to her, I know I have the influence to promote this thing.
Yeah.
Ne? But at the same time, I don't want to misuse, because there's people that will listen to me and there's
Yes.
people that will say, okay, now if Zeke says we must do it,
Yeah.
then I trust him, so I'll do it because on his recommendation.
Yeah.
But then I told Anka, I don't want to be that person to misuse the fact that I know there's certain people. There's not a lot, but there's people that will listen to me if I say, okay, guys, I think let's invest in this, or let's do this, or let's support this.
Yes.
So now you have to also be cautious about like who do you springboard your
Yes.
these frustrations off,
Yeah.
And so that's something I would do. I would rather go to my wife or my friend in London and I'll say to him, bruh, this happened, I'm a bit irritated, what do you think? Then he'll like calm me down. Nah, bruh, don't worry about it, is how it is. This happens, that happens. But you have to find a safe place.
You have to have a safe space, absolutely.
There was one question we didn't really delve into it about how to handle our anger, but we've come to technically the end of our show. I just want to bring in those last comments. maybe we use that last question just as a signing off note. How would you deal with it? But Micheline says that I think we all have a Mabel, Pastor V. She's such a problem, that woman. Facts. And then Felicia says, as the wives of the husbands who vent, we get angered by those people who angered you. We weren't even in the convo. Maar ons wil meer kwaad as wat hy mens. And that's true. Like, I think as a supporting...
I must tell Anka, help and leave it. She's like, but do you see? Yeah, I know, but don't carry on with it.
Ons vat offense because jy het nou my mens kwaad gemaak.
Right.
So just to sign off here, how do you deal? Because I find that people find different outlets for their anger, whether it is substance abuse, whether it is shopping, whether it is, there's all these different outlets. What would you say would be a more healthier way to deal with your anger? Because the reality of the matter is we all experience anger, we all experience these different emotions, but finding the proper outlet, how would you deal with it?
For me, it would be not to hold a grudge. To make sure you don't hold a grudge. Forgive quickly. The Bible also speaks about it. That we must forgive before the sun sets. Ne?
Yeah.
Don't hold a grudge. The Bible also Paul speaks about, be slow to anger.
Yeah.
So wees maar stadig om kwaad te raak. As jy voel like, pas as ek sê, anger wat so lekker.
Maar hy is ook...
Jy het nou so mooi dit ge-explain.
Dit is 'n moeilike een vir iemand wat gou is om
ja, dit is baie. Ons met patience. But that is where it comes in, where we have to exercise, be kind on a daily basis. Strive to be kind, strive to be patient, but take time out also. When you and your husband have had a fight, take a walk.
Yeah.
Vat 'n stroll, or go and exercise.
Before you say something.
Before you say something, before you voel, ek gaan die persoon verwrig. Nee? Take a walk, take a deep breath, and then come back once you've cooled down. In the past when we grew up, our parents used to spank us when they were angry.
Yeah.
Nee? En slaan hulle soos
Allerlei
woede kom en hy lag dan
Rustig nie een om mis.
Yes. So let's not revert to that. Go to that. Rather use other mechanisms. Like I said, take time out, think before you speak.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
I think it's very important. Anything?
I find also just to mention to jump on what you're saying with my children. I find am I now disciplining my child because I'm nar?
You're releasing your anger.
No, because I'm frustrated now and ek slaan hoe die kind want ek is eintlik nou nar. Or am I disciplining the child because the child was wrong? And there's a big difference.
Yes.
And when I feel I'm nar, then I think ek gaan nou nie die kind because I believe in hidings.
Yes.
I believe in spank on the bum.
Spare the rod and spoil the child.
I believe in spank on the bum.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not hitting the child.
No, you're not abusing the child. No.
But I'm
discipline.
spanking the child enough for the child to know that my father is now in. So even they cry not because it's so.
Yeah.
They cry because ek is in trouble nou. Ek was 'n pak slag gegee. But I get to the point where you must weigh am I doing this now because I'm angry, or am I doing this for the sake of discipline? So again, to echo your point, you have to just breathe first, relax first, think about the whole thing properly, and then also don't hold, like you were saying, don't hold that grudge.
Yeah.
Think to yourself, you know what? But to add on to not holding the grudge,
I've
always had this thing in my heart and in my mind, and I've been living with it for a long time. Just because now I've forgiven you, I can still be cautious about not allowing you back in my space.
Absolutely.
And so
forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation.
So I forgive you.
Yes.
When I see you, I'll be cordial.
Yes.
When we talk, we'll greet.
Yeah.
But me, I've now closed it.
You're
not gonna come the way you used to come here, just in and out like you want. You're not just gonna phone me and we're gonna go somewhere now. Yeah. I create like a bit of a
barrier.
Hey, bro, you know what? I love you. You were a good guy. Everything sharp, lekker kwai. But it doesn't mean I don't actually want you back in my life.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Because I've been faced with something recently where you try to accommodate and you try to forgive and you really try to forget, but this person is just really intent on just pushing that button the whole time.
And what do you do in a situation where even though you showing grace, that person carries on and on and
As though
on
nothing's
and on.
happening
Like
or
in a situation that I know of, and maybe it's a similar one to what Anka's mentioning. They carry on and on. But you can show grace, ne? You can show grace even when you nar and you angry, ne? But you think to yourself, let me not be that person. Let me be the better person. Let me. And how do you get to the point where you're like, I'm now tired of being the better person. Jy wys my dan straight.
Yeah.
Evilly.
Yeah.
Because at this point I'm feeling abused. Like how?
Because now
How-
now you're just using me at this point.
Right.
Because
And they
no
also
the better
know.
person, maar
they also know
Jy
they
vat
can
my
count on the
advantage.
fact that you'll come back and just be the better person.
Jy vat no advantage van my better person.
And I think,
Ek kan ook nou nie die hele tyd 'n better person. Jy vat no one no.
but I think this is the part where we say that it's important to be to put boundaries in place.
Yes.
And I think for your own sake, and I think you need to be there when you need to be there, whatever, because you can't exactly avoid the whole situation in its entirety. But you need to be in the presence of mind that a barrier. If that person can't control themselves, you need to put that boundary in place where they know
This one I can't just do it.
I can't just do what I want. So I think that's very important. Thank you so much to everybody that joined us here. And thank you so much that you guys posted the comments so that we can engage. We really had a lekker show today. Ons het lekker gepraat hier vandag. Thank you so much, baby. You know that you're always my go-to. And
I just want to say this. You teach people how to treat you.
that's true.
If you
That's
let
I
things
like
slide,
that.
then
I like that
you,
one.
You allowing.
You allowed
you
it.
teach people
Yes.
how to treat you.
Yeah. Can I also just say thank you to Pastor Sex?
Thank you so much.
Always
for
so
having me.
nice to be in your company.
Ready and
Ek
gewillig.
like, kyk hier, man is diep, ne?
Ja.
It's funny.
Nou weet julle wat ek weet.
We can have a serious conversation, but add some spice to it, laugh about it.
Right.
But like to the culture, as it break, I'm joking, but I'm really serious.
I'm serious.
But I'm joking. But I'm
Joking,
serious.
not joking. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And meet us here again next week. Same place, same time. Bye.
In the shadows, as I look upon my life, in the shadows, there's a passion